Okay, let's start with 3 Oms and Sahana Avatu and Guru Stotram. Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabiryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhidamastu mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimiram Dasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yaptam, Yatkim Sisajaracharam, Tatpadam Darsitam Yena, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So in the last 2 talks, we emphasized some spiritual exercises. And the first exercise, I want to make sure that you look back your own life and come up with some kind of autobiography in terms of what all your success, failures, and what you wanted to do, what you didn't do, what you could do, all that. That is important for retrospective analysis, because what you're looking for and what you get, we want to analyze it. And now, second exercise is also important, is to establish a firm goal. That's what it is. Now we'll go into a little bit of this. Is what should be my goal? Because everybody says I want this in my life, because the rest of the life we are given, and whatever the life is, and so what is that my goal should be, or it should be anything. So that answer, the question answer depends upon what are you looking for. So what is everyone is looking for? Fundamentally, one should know first. So in all other goals, ultimately what I'm looking for is happiness. This is the fundamental pursuit of human pursuit. So I have to recognize this as my ultimate goal, because what I want to be is happy. So all other things that I look back and this is whatever I did is because I want to gain happiness by those pursuits. Now, I want to establish a goal, what? So that I can be happy. That's what seems to be goal, right? So, ultimately, the highest goal, if at all, for all human beings is ultimately is this, what? That I want to be eternally unlimited happiness, so that I don't have to look for anything anymore. I achieve what I need to be achieved. Krutak krutyaha, accomplish, the life is done. So that is my highest goal, for this is true for everybody. So in spite of all other goals, I had to recognize this goal. I may not recognize it and I establish some temporary goals, but this is exactly what you're looking for. So here we are re-evaluating our own goal for this purpose to say, what is my essential purpose of my life itself? Is not to raise my children. All those things are temporal goals that are required. But what is the ultimate aim? Ultimate aim and goal is, I want to be happy. And that seems to be a fundamental pursuit of all human beings. In fact, all beings itself. A search for happiness. And Gita says you are searching for where there is no reason to search. That's what we will come back at that. But that is my highest goal. So all other goals are become now intermediary goals to accomplish this highest goal. Okay, that has to be understood. So when I say establish a goal, you might establish, this is my goal, that's my goal, that's my goal, and I want to self-realization. This is my goal. I want to realize before I live. What for? What do you have to realize for? What? So that I can be happy. That's the purpose also. What he says, you are already happy. That's what you have to realize. The realization is you are already happy. That comes with the proper understanding of Vedanta. But that is my highest goal in life, is not to become God, not to see God, not to do something, nothing else. I want to be happy. If I am happy right now, remember I said, if I am happy right now, mission is done. But don't complain afterwards. Because there is no reason for you to complain. If I am already happy, then don't say but. But is here. So that will not come at all, because I am, in spite of anything, I am happy. That has to be understood. In spite of changing circumstances, I am happy. So all other goals that I establish now should be towards this goal, because this is my highest goal. So all other things are temporary goals that I need to accomplish, because I have been put in a particular role, and so just I have in today's there is a dead end because of COB. COB means the close of business day. That's what the English, that is maybe military terminology. Close of business day, you have to do this. So that's for office I have to do this, for home I have to do this. All or close of business day I have to accomplish that. But what for? So that I am free from all those. I am comfortable. Free means freedom is what I am looking for, so that I don't have to do anything for me to be happy anymore. So therefore, all other things are required, because you are putting in a society where you are a social, you depend on so many other things, and other things are depend on you. So those are depending on you, you have to fulfill their obligations, all that. Those whom you depend, again you have to fulfill certain things. All that need to be is part of transactional things, goals, and they should not obstruct this essential goal. But essential goal has to be kept in mind in all these things also. So when I am going to go, in between I have to do so many other things, but I do not lose the sight of my highest goal that I want to reach in these deviations or detours. Because detours are only go back ultimately to reach the destination. So I shouldn't get lost in the detours in the process, but without forgetting, I forget my goal, then only I have this problem. If I set only this as my goal, then what do I do after I accomplish this goal? And if I don't accomplish, then I have a problem. All that problems that we face are actually situations that I encounter in my life. I make it a problem because it becomes a problem when I'm trying to solve a problem where it is only a temporary situation where I need to solve it in order to reach my goal. So it says, Ajya dharaya srotasa samam sarala chintanam virala. This is from the Upadeshara. It says, like ghee falling. It says, I should have that understanding, love for my highest goal. And at the same time, in spite of it, all other deviations, just like the river is going towards the ocean. River knows its destination. Small obstacles it goes over, bigger obstacles it slowly, gracefully goes around them and goes. but never forgets what is the goal that is to be reached. So that has to be clear. That's why setting a goal is essential aspect of life. Otherwise, I am just going to drift. That's why I keep emphasizing this. Without that, my life will be just like any other things. So, application of Bhagavad Gita in my life itself involves starting now, at least what is my essential purpose of my life itself, because whatever this, I don't know when I am going to go. Before the CBD, what is the close of business day or close of business life, whatever this, I had to accomplish this. And that has to be the main. Once I set the goal, then what do? Then you have to work for it. Right? So there is no point in setting the goal and not working for it. That's useless. That's anybody said, say, I have to become a great physician. But what are you doing? Watching TV and sitting on sleep. So that doesn't work. So once I set the goal, then I have to have some discipline of the mind to reach the goal. Isn't it? For any goal. So this is essentially for any goal to reach, I need to have called 4 Ds. One is discrimination. Discrimination is this necessary for my reaching a goal? Anything, this is my highest goal. Once I set up that, so a student wants to reach the first class, then he has to discriminate what he can do within the time, because the time is only fixed. You have CBD, right? CBD, close of business. I had to do certain things. So before that, I had to obviously exclude things that are not relevant to reach my goal, and only include those to reach that goal. So unnecessarily things that distract my attention from the goal, I drop out unless I need to do it. Okay, follow? Need basis now. Remember, that's why I said, even to eat also, need basis. Do I need it? Then it's okay. If I don't need it and if I eat it, then I have different problems, right? All sorts of problems. Same thing with all our activities in life, or if I do on need basis. How do I determine need basis? Remembering my goal in life, what need to be accomplished. Is this required for that? No, I still have to do it because of the situation. Then do it and then get back. So, therefore, whatever the obligatory duties that are coming because of the role that you are playing in life, because I cannot but play, I am a social animal because I depend on so many things, and from the morning to the evening I have to go to job, I have to do this, and so many people depend on me, and so I depend on so many other people, and there are a lot of things that their frustrations are, these are our daily life. So when I went to India to settle for, we live 6 months in India, 6 months in here. When I went to India, I want the fellow to come and do something. He says, I'm coming at 6 o'clock. So I wait 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all night is over, next day 6 o'clock. He didn't specify what day it is. But I'm waiting at it. This is because I don't have respect for time for other people. Oh, I'm coming. He doesn't have no concept, but this is do I get frustrated? What do I do? Yes, first day I got frustrated. What this fellow says, I have to wait. But that is a life there. So I should have plan A, plan B, plan C. If Ika doesn't come, what should I do next? I should go, because this is the nature of that. But remember, whenever I get frustrated by these, I have an expectation from others who are not fulfilling, right? This is our life. So what should I do? Pull down your expectations. Because your expectations are the appointments. So disappointments come for those who make appointments. So you know the situation. If I know this fellow is not going to do, don't give him work then. Because you know he's not going to do. If you depend on him, nothing will get done. So, point of growing in life is to, because when you say I am expecting something, there's always a disappointment that comes. So you expect that your expectation does not reach. That also you should expect. Then you are already ready. So this is a part of life because it is going to disturb my happiness. Remember, my goal is what? I want to be happy some other time. This is another problem. You know, we work for what? I want to gain something. What? I want to be happy. Maybe a little bit deviation from what I was doing. Because I want to be happy. What? I want to be happy in future. Just now we were talking about the time concept. I want to be in future. I want to be, by doing this, I am going to be happy. Isn't that what we do all the time? So I'm going to be happy when I get this or when I get that and that. So in all doing things, I'm trying to postpone happiness to future, trying to expect the happiness is going to come after this. Unfortunately, what happens if you look, that's why I ask you to write autobiography, what all things you did in the past. When you get what you got, the happiness will go since no time. So fast that you again want something else to be happy. All this you work, you want to be happy. Are you happy? I'm happy, but I need something else now for me to keep this happiness. Future never comes, right? It's always present. So what should I be? We'll come back. What should I do? I want to be happy. It's not for your future. It can never reach that state of absolute happiness in future. I can only be happy now. Follow what the problem is? I'm trying to perform an action so that I'll be happy in future. But I cannot but perform the action. You know, these are all constraints of my life. I'm not discussing some philosophy here. These are all constraints. Then how can I be happy while I am performing the action? That has to be understood now. Follow? So it is not going to be gaining happiness in after fulfilling something. I'm going to be happy. If I look for it, you will be disappointed only. So what is that I had to do is I cannot but act. And so many obligation things are there. Going to office. So don't postpone your happiness to the future, but have the happiness while doing in the present only, because that's only can live in the present. That's what karmani eva adhikaraste means also, where you can only act in the present, you can only be happy in the present only. This is the philosophy now. We are bringing Bhagavad Gita right there. But this has to be practically understood. So what is now we are trying to reach a goal itself is the goal that is to be accomplished with proper frame of mind. Follow, understand a little bit? I need to develop a frame of mind where very action itself is the happiness. Should be happiness. I don't know if you... So, how should I act? That's why there is an attitude in the action comes into picture while acting, because I had to have a proper frame of attitude so that I don't depend on something else for me to become happy. I depend on myself, and myself is there in the action right there. This is to be slowly has to be synced into the mind. You can say, yes, this is very good, it looks lecture is very good, and after that we are back to the same. Because this has to be synced in as we live day to day. So, for that, discipline of the mind is required. What is right, what is wrong, because what makes me happy has to be understood as I am doing it. So, the discrimination is one aspect of one of the Ds. Discrimination is what is that I want, and obviously I have to discard that which really dissipates the mind. I may get a temporarily happy in all other things of sense enjoyments. Not that there is no happiness there. I may be temporarily happy, but that will cause me a lot of other problems in the long run. Why? Because when I depend on something other than myself for my happiness, then I become bound to it. If it is there, I am happy. If it is not there, I am happy. If it can be person or it can be situation. But my goal is to be happy all the time. So I cannot depend on anything other than myself for me to be happy. It may be God, it can be anything. I cannot depend on it, because if my mind is not there, then I am not happy. So therefore, if there is a God, I had to lock him here, all permanently here, so that he cannot go anywhere. Then it's okay, I am happy, because he is there all the time with me. Understand? So if I put God somewhere else, then I am in real trouble, because everybody is calling him and he has to go. So I had to understand what God also. That's why God says, I am there in your heart. I cannot go even if you want it, but I don't recognize that I am searching for him all over the place. So I had to have a clear understanding of all this in my life in a day-to-day, because if I don't, then it is only living like anything. If I understand it, the discrimination and the discipline are the two things, and the third is dispassion. That's called vairagya. You call this, I am putting in the same way. It says viveka, vairagya, or all those things are all, I am putting in the same. Dispassion is getting rid of things I don't need it. That's all it means. What I don't think is, don't have that burden unnecessarily. Let it take. You remember a village guy who is carrying a big, at that time there is no small suitcase, big trunks, they used to be iron boxes. So he saw everybody is bringing big boxes, and he felt sorry for the train. So sitting in the train, he wanted to help the train to carry the box. So he put the box on his head so that it is relieving the burden for the train. But you may laugh at it, but that's what we are doing. I am carrying the whole burden, and this will just drop it. Take what is required. That is what is vairagya. Vairagya is what you don't need it, discard it. Don't keep on holding on to that. And what I don't need it and what I need it, that is determined by your goal. What you have, this is my goal. If I have that discipline, automatically I discard using a discrimination. What is that I need? Discard what is not needed. So it is a part of same deal. The first is the discrimination, discipline, and dispassion. And the fourth one is the desire, the 4D. Desire means that called mumukshutvam. This one is desire for reaching my goal. I want to reach that goal. The stronger the desire, all other things drop out automatically, because automatically I know this is not required, that's not required. So this is essentially, even Vedanta, these 4 Ds are specified. But for us, application of our day-to-day, this is also important. For those people who are successful, if you look at it, they are applying whether they know it or not, all these things. Okay? So whenever you succeeded in any particular project you had at that time, but only you have a temporary project, after that you are right back to the square because you don't know what else to do. Therefore, have a goal that you cannot even reach. How am I going to reach? You don't need to reach it. But very working for the goal itself is the very purpose of life itself, because you have to strive to gain that. And if you make the striving itself is the enjoyment, then you are the happy right there, right now, as you are working. And that can happen better or easily, provided you work for, not for your selfish sake, for the sake of others. Follow now? All that becomes important, interconnected now. So what is essentially, I said last time, even if I don't have anything strength, at least pray for everybody. Not for your own sake. But if you can do something that helps more than you others. In that very doing itself gives you happiness. Not the result. But very doing itself makes you happy because you are in that state of happiness. Because you don't depend on anything, you are doing only because you already have. Therefore only you can give. A rich man is the one who can give, not the one who keeps collecting, because he is still a poor, he wants more. But only a person who can give, even if he has only $1, if he gives half a dollar, he is a rich man compared to the one who has millions but cannot give anything. So therefore, richness is what? If I am that happiness, then I can share and give happiness to everybody else also. And happiness comes because they are suffering with their problems. If I can give them helping hand, then in the process, very action itself, it causes the happiness. Not now, I am not longing for, as a result of, happiness as a result, but happiness itself is, doing itself becomes is that factor. Okay. All this has to be applied in my daily life. Because even though I understand all these things, it's difficult for me to keep this understanding in my daily life. So bring a factor now. That's what called Ishwara. Oh Lord, be with me also. Then we both together work towards this problem. So that now what is happening now? I am bringing Ishwara into the action. Because I cannot but act, irrespective of what action. But instead of me selfish, I cannot act every time, all the time for other people. I don't know other people. I can't even see anybody else or do anybody. What should I do? So then act for him. He's there in everybody, right? So once I bring Ishwara into the picture now, into the action, then my attitude in the action also changes. One way of changing the attitude is act for the benefit of others. That means there is no selfishness. The fish part, the stinky part is not there. So therefore, all other negative tendencies of, say, jealousies and greediness, all those things go away. But if you are acting for other people for the name and fame, then you have another problem. You are only acting for yourself again. Oh, remember I donated so much here and donated this and donated that, and everybody tom, great person. Oh, that's why I'm making happy. Then I have another problem. That means I depend upon other people's praise and all that. So it says, what is happening? One who depends on anything is going to be miserable. One who depends on himself is the one who is Atmanastu, Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati, and Atmanyeva Atmanatushtaha. All this is essentially teaching comes once we start putting this into in our day-to-day, as step one, step two, slowly, step by step, as my mind matures enough to appreciate that it is all there, all the time. So what is next has to be done? I said, bring Ishwara into my activities, what I established as a goal. So in every activity that daily that I am doing, bring the Lord in whatever form you have imagined or you have picturized or you have notion or existing as a Krishna form or a Vishnu form or a Shiva form. Form is not the point. It is that which is because of him you are able to do everything else, and that who is there all the time in your heart, that is the Lord. So as a part of exercise I mentioned last time is start the day with the prayer to the Lord, because now you are bringing the Lord into picture. So first thing in the morning, start with the prayer of thinking of the Lord. Lord, I want to see you in my heart. So whole heart is the core of my personality. I am essentially the core of my heart. But feel that presence, not just statement. Because the life itself is there. I told you, I am able to breathe, I am able to do anything. All involuntary actions are because of the Lord only. Without His presence, I cannot do anything. Now I had to recognize that it is Him I am, because of Him I have to do. So recognition of the fact which is already there is bringing the Lord there. Means recognition the Lord is there in every activity. I cannot but be a full-time devotee. Because everything action is because of His grace only. Remember I told you, heart is pumping, the digestive system functioning, every prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, all physiological functions are being, I am able to think and I am able to talk, I am able to express, I am able to hear. Everything is because of what? Is that what Upanishad says? Yat chakshusha pasyati yena chakshum se pasyati tadeva brahma tvam vidhi edam yidam pasyati. That which I cannot see, but because of which you can see. I can see. The capacity to see is a miracle, in fact. As soon as I open, I cannot but see. My mind is there. But to see beauty of that, then you can see. So, the presence of the Lord everywhere has to be recognized. So, first thing in the morning as an exercise, we start with a prayer. Oh Lord, I am going into the world. The day is going to start. But I want to first recognize your presence before I venture into the world. I don't know whether I remember you or not when I transact. If I remember, please remind me that to remind you. That also he has to do. But if I forget it, but right now I am putting stocks right now in advance. Whenever I am going to transact, this transaction I have scheduled, this transaction I have scheduled, that transaction, let me see you in those transactions also. Because devotee is not a part-time devotee. Only go to the temple and I become a devotee and after that, that's the end of it. No. Then it's become like, oh, I'm a part-time. When I encounter my wife, I'm a husband. I encounter child. So those are part-time relationships. A full-time relation, this is a fundamental relationship because I cannot be away from him anytime because he said I am everywhere. Right? Every scripture says I am everywhere. So I cannot find a place where he is not there. So I have to be full-time devotee then. But what the problem is, I don't recognize him only. That's my problem. So at least I have to recognize when in the morning itself, when my mind is not muddled, at least I have to recognize him. And afterwards, at least whenever my mind can turn my attention to the Lord, see the presence of it. And when you are transacting, when you see the presence, that is of course great. But when you are deeply involved, He Himself is acting actually at that time. You may not even recognize you also. When you are deeply, that's called even inspired action. Any action, in fact, when the mind and intellect is completely involved, you think you are acting, but it's not you. It is like, you remember the box you put on top of your head, you're sitting in the train, you think you have to carry it to help to help. It says, Prakrutseva karmani kriyamanani sarvasaya pasati tadatmanam akartaram sapasyati. Prakriti is doing everything. What's a Prakriti? That's my only glory. My lower nature only is doing it. It's all teaching from the Gita only. And any action when you are deeply involved, where the mind and intellect is completely absorbed, where you don't see anything else, even you don't recognize yourself because you are so involved, it is the Lord Himself is doing there. Only later, oh, I did it, that notion comes, that ego comes in later, claiming what has been done by the Lord. Like I carried the box. That claiming is the problem there. But therefore, whenever I can recognize it, but that comes as understanding later, but at least as a sadhana, as an exercise, start remembering Him whenever you are free, your mind is free. But when you are acting, you act, but do not react. This is the second that we are going to talk about. But action at that time, as you perform very action. So in the morning when I am recognizing my schedule, imagining His presence already in your mind. Oh Lord, I'm going to meet my boss who is tyrant, who is a terrible guy, but I want to see you in his presence. I'm already scheduled. I'm going to see my wife. Oh, no, my wife is not there. My husband, my this one, all other see the presence of the Lord in them before you even, all the way up to that. So you are preparing your mind in such a way that you do not react to the situations properly. You only act. And in the end, I mentioned as an exercise part is go back and introspection. Just as I looked at the whole my life, look back that day's activities. Don't go through the video of relearning. Oh, I did it and he called me all sorts. Don't redo that. Take back and back again and again. Lord, I forgot you in this situation and I gave gollies left and right or whatever. All those abusive things I did because I forgot your presence. I was greedy in those moments because I forgot you. If you start recognizing factor and says, sorry, make sure that next time I won't do it. That's what meant for that. In anger I did it. Lord, I forgot about you. So when man was beggar going on, and this, in the Muslim tradition, you have to feed somebody, invite somebody and feed him. And this host invited man, and I gave him all the food and beautiful food for him to know, and he was ready to eat. And this guy watched him, and he just started eating. He said, this guy might be angry. Why? You didn't even thank the Lord. So he was so angry, he kicked him out of that house because he loves the Lord so much. The Lord came in the night. He says, you kicked me out. He said, what do you mean I kicked you out? He said, you kicked that because I am there in his heart also. You only looking at other things, but I am there. I am putting up with that all the time, and you couldn't put up one day with that whatever he did. But I am putting the whole life with him. So I should have proper attitude. If Lord can do, because Lord is in everybody's heart, right? So how can I have a problem with anybody? If Lord is not able to complain and all that, why should I complain? So there are snakes and there are foxes and there are all sorts of things, animals. They are beautiful. But don't go put finger in the fox and says it is biting me. So keep away from them. They're beautiful to look. So in the same way, there are all sorts of people where you come in contact with, situations are there. So don't say this is situation. Yes, there are people who are mature, there are people who also did like this before. So the first thing I learned in India is not to expect from other things, but also when I try to criticize other people, he is not respecting my time. I should be in a position not to disrespect other people's time now. These are the educations for myself, so that I had to make sure this kind of disappointment should not be, I should not give it to others. Therefore, I should not cause other people unnecessarily agitations in their mind to disturb them. Action need to be done. Whatever. Do my actions, leave the rest to him. And if somebody is misbehaving, act properly. So the whole Bhagavad Gita is teaching violence. It's not teaching violence. It is, war is required, because if I have some, if I have some cancer or some hand is amputated, doctor has to remove it, because it's bad for the rest of the body having that. So it's not a violence against the body. It is required to make the body, rest of the body proper. So the so-called what I need to do it in order to put things is required. A mother disciplines the child for the child's sake only, not for mother's sake. Mother may feel more bad than the child itself in punishing the child. So that has to be attitude when I'm trying to convert, and some people cannot be converted. Some people are, management is those people who can be managed and those people who cannot be managed. That's a part of management seminar. So there are people, leave them, because there's nothing you can do about it other than your complaint. So you don't get agitated. They are beautiful in their own way. They have to evolve in their own. So this attitude has to be developed as I transact in the world. So first thing in the prayer, bring the Lord, because it's easy for me to talk like this, but when I'm in the situations where people are all sorts of things and all sorts of situations are occurring, there's no particular solution that I care you should do this way so that you don't. Only way to do it is bring the Lord himself and let him help you. So that is the best sadhana or a practice where don't leave the Lord in the puja room, but take him with you all the time, because he is there. That means recognize his presence all the time. Which comes to the next aspect. That means whenever I recognize the Lord and recognize that he is the one who is performing, or if I think I am performing for him, because I am not able to perform for anybody else. Because I am in a situation, financially I am not there, or health-wise I cannot do service to the locality. So what should I do? Service to him. Because he is everything. So when you serve to him, he serves everybody also. So how do I serve him? And that is what becomes a Ishwararpitam Nichaya Krutim. So Ishwararpita Buddhi comes into picture in terms of activities. So whatever I do, offer it to him. So he says, Krishna says, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yatu yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Offer everything that you do. Now, don't say I had to do selfless action to perform. You do selfless automatically when you are not doing for yourself, but when you are doing for the Lord. So which means what? Every action becomes a prayer now. Prayer is not just doing some arati in the temple and all that. All are only training for this, because Lord is there in your own heart. So therefore, every action becomes a prayer, irrespective of what action it is. Yes, I have to wash my dishes. Wash it for him. I have to take care of my child. Take care of him for him. Now you remember now? The whole thing is turned, because now you are acting for him. There is no independent service to the society and all that. Now you are serving the society, because he is nothing but the whole society is him only. Because there is no place where he is not. When you are serving him, then you are serving the whole society. Clear now? It means the Ishvara Arpita Buddhi has to be there in all activities. So now what should I do? As an exercise of a spiritual exercise, you are starting the day with a prayer, you are ending the day with a prayer, but now you remember during the day also, whenever your mind can remember him, do that. So how should I remember him? A simplest way is Nama. Name of the Lord. Name goes before. There used to be advertisement. Name goes before the quality. The Zenith used to have one television car. Name goes before the quality goes, and they used to otherwise Zenith. But here, Lord name. In the Ramayana, there's a story. Rama's name is more superior to Rama himself. So Anjaneya puts a shield, Rama's name. Rama could not do, there's a Rama-Anjaneya Yuddham also, fighting between Rama and Anjaneya. Rama could not do anything, because he put a big shield of Rama's name there in front. So no other arrow can defeat him, because name is far more superior. A name involves a lot more things, but at least name involves knowing also. But at least in whatever name you know him, and therefore bringing him is thinking of him, and thinking of him is Nama. Right? So what is that next one is? Is having the name of the Lord. Before the action, after the action also. That's why in all our activities in Indian Hinduism culture, it is whenever they start something, they start doing puja. Right? Why you are doing puja? Think of the Lord itself in the process. But it's only not in the puja time. Whenever I have mind is free, I should start thinking of the Nama of the Lord. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit of the mind a little bit now in a few minutes. So because I just brought the mind, because the mind is peculiar, is whatever you're thinking is is a platform in which the mind is operating. But look back your mind where your mind is. As a part of exercise I told you find the mind is not in the present, it's either in the past or in the future most of the time. So time we are talking about tense. This is where we get tensed only because of this, because in the past tense or the future tense, because whenever mind is always thinking about what is that, I did this, I did that, all past is gone. Or about the future, what's going to be, what am I going to do, planning for the future, expectations of something, all about future. So as an exercise, when you're walking, I ask you to freeze your mind and see where the mind is. It's either in the past or in the future only. But we live only in the present. We don't live in the past. Past is gone. Second is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. You can brood about it, about the past in the present only. Oh, I should have, could have, would have. I cannot think about what I could have done about the past in the present only. In the process, I miss the present also, in brooding about the past. Or about the future, but present is not available. Mind is not available in the present. And people, there's a lot of books also. There's one, Eckhart Tolle, he talk about, say, now is what you have to do. Now is, those who want to know, Google it, you can say Eckhart Tolle, he talks about now. But now is itself fictitious, we'll talk about fictitious now later. But now itself is the present, where mind is not there in the present. How can I live in the present? And the simplest and easiest technique is bring him there, bring his presence there. Which means that your mind is not running into the past, your mind is not running into the future, your mind is going towards the higher of the Lord. Two things you are accomplishing. You are bringing Lord to the present, and at the same time, the mind is now devoted to something higher, because that's what you gave a name as your Ishtadevata or something. So, chant the name of the Lord. So, how can I change the name of the Lord? So, you should have a Lord for you to chant and all this. So, as a part of exercise, now comes, you should have a prayer also. So I skipped all those. You think of the God in the morning. But prayer helps you to recognize the presence of that, so that I can remember Him all the time. Means of the prayer. How should I pray? He will understand all languages. So pray in any way what you want. You have to do only this way, that way, then you get bothered about the process than the prayer. So if you know how to do it that way also. Don't get worried, then, oh, I didn't do that way, what should I do? Then do it that way. So process is there to help you to do properly, so that you can think of Him. Remember, what is the goal of this? In any prayer, all these traditions, they talk about you have to do only this. All those processes are meant for to think of this, but not to get involved in the mechanics of the process, so that you lose the essential aspect of this. So have a clear understanding of why am I praying for. Don't pray for as a beggar there. Nobody wants to beg, right? When you become big, you become too small. Become big, where you can give only. If you are too small, you are only like, even Lord Narayana has to become so small in order to beg. Remember Vamana is shortest one. So be in a position where, oh Lord, with you I can give it to anybody. Because you are there full, if they infinite with me, then I can give anything to anybody as an infinite source. But for that, I should at least develop a mind of reverential attitude to the Lord. For that only prayer. Remember, why am I praying? So that I can recognize His presence all the time. So pray, I should know why am I doing prayer also? Not for begging and not for all those things. I am praying so that I can recognize Prabhupada. He is there already, but I don't see because I am looking all over for him. Recognize his presence, but as a practice, have him at least see his presence when you go to the meditation room or puja room or whatever. So there, as the kaya vangmanaha karyamutam is a puja, you can do this with the body, with the mind, with that. But in essentially, have clear understanding. I am praying so that I want to take the Lord in me, inside me, not outside there. Outside is only practice for me to take me inside, so that he is there all the time with me. If I accomplish, then I can see, then I don't have to do that way only. I can recognize his presence all the time. So do I have to go to temple? Then you don't have to go to temple. Do I have to go to puja room? Then you don't have to go to puja room. You do have to do all these slokas. You don't have to do it because you are already thinking of him. All those meant for this. So I should have clear understanding the purpose of what I am doing for. And once I recognize that this is the essentially, until then, you have to do this. Remember, don't get mixed up with the process and the goal. And all that becomes essential tools for me, so that when I do in my daily life, I am aware of his presence all the time. Then only I can offer him any action as a prayer to him. Remember, Ishwara, we can say, Ishwara Arpita Buddhi, all activities become. And finally, you have to be careful here. When I bring him, the Lord is there, but Lord is there where Dharma is there. Oh Lord, I am bringing you, now I am going to go and loot everybody. With your presence, I want to loot everybody. No. So Lord is there means Lord is always auspicious. Sakala Kalyana Gunashrayam. The Ramanuja says is Ananta Kalyana Gunashrayam. He is the locus of infinite auspicious qualities. That is the Lord that I am bringing him. Therefore, you should be, when you are offering to that and perceive the presence, all those auspicious qualities have to flow through you only. Therefore, all the activities that I am in have to be dharmic activities. So that's why Gita starts with Dharma. That's why Krishna is with the Pandavas all the time, because they are the ones who are following Dharma. And once I have, so now I have so many aspects are being discussed here in terms of our sadhana. Recognition of the Lord, prayer to the Lord, and carrying the Lord all the time. And also it should be dharmic. Now all other things come, 4 Ds that we are talking about have to be kept in mind in this, because this is my goal to reach highest, and it is not reaching the goal, but trying to reach the goal itself is the happiness stage that I am, because I can only be happy in the present, not in the future. All this has to be understood, have to be understood in my daily activities of life. And it is not from tomorrow onwards I am going to be changed completely. It has to be not that. It is by slow process of practice. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha krishnate. By constant practice only, it becomes one with you. This is true for anything. And this is true for Vedanta also. So with that, we will stop here and then do Purnamadam and then open for discussion. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Wait till I stop this one.